The galaxy never agreed on the origin of the human species. Every archive, every star map, every alien historian described them differently. Some believed humans were a myth born from war stories told around dying campfires. Others claimed humans vanished long before the age of hyperlight, leaving behind only ruins impossible to date. But in the deep corners of forgotten space, a few whispered that humans were not extinct at all, they were waiting. It began with a silent distress signal drifting through the Perseus Fringe, a region avoided by every sane navigator. The signal was faint, wrapped in layers of ancient encryption no one had seen in millennia. It pulsed with a simple message: we are still here. The Heliox Dominion was the first to detect it. A fleet of war triremes, sleek and silver, cut through the void toward the source. Their commanders expected wreckage, bones, maybe the last dying cinders of a lost species. What they found instead was a barren star system wrapped in dust clouds thicker than nebula shrouds. Planets scarred by orbital bombardment centuries old. Moons cracked open like ancient tombs. A battlefield frozen in time, yet hovering above the dead world of Vanter 3 was something that should not have existed, a ship, massive. Silent. Dark as a collapsed star, its outer hull looked like obsidian hammered into armor plating several meters thick. Runes of unfamiliar design pulsed along its spine, patterns geometric and elegant. Glowing with deep red light like the heartbeat of a creature in slumber. It was a vessel built for war, built for suffering, built to break the arrogance of empires. The Heliox fleet approached cautiously, sending drones first. Every drone that ventured within 10 kilometers of the ship disintegrated in a flash of white static, as if erased from existence by some unseen hand. The Dominion commanders hesitated, calculating, analyzing, but something stirred within the Leviathan. A hum, low and resonant, rippled through the dust clouds. The runes brightened. Engines older than the Dominion itself flickered awake. The dead ship breathed, and then a voice boomed across every comm channel, raw. Human, undeniable, unidentified vessels. You stand in restricted Terran space. The Heliox captains froze. Terran. The forbidden word. The extinct word, no one spoke it, no one claimed it, no one survived it. The voice continued, calm yet heavy with a force that bent through metal. This is the battleship Nemean. Stand down or you will be removed. Shock rippled through the fleet. Every alien aboard knew the ancient Terran war doctrine. They had heard the legends. Humans never bluffed. Sensors lit up as the Nemean's weapons warmed. Mass driver cannons that could split moons, rail cores capable of bending magnetic fields, and something else. Something the Dominion did not recognize. Shimmering like a blade of light forming in the dark, for the first time in centuries, the Heliox Dominion retreated. The battleship did not pursue. It simply watched, silent and enormous, like a ghost refusing to return to the grave. Word spread across the galaxy in days. The Terrans were back. Their warships had awakened. And no one knew how many more were still sleeping beneath the dust. On a quiet outpost station at the edge of the Orion Shelf, a lone human figure stood before a window, watching the distant glow of stars swirl like embers of an old fire. The figure wore a dark officer's coat, the Terran crest stitched over the heart, a roaring lion surrounded by fractured chains. She whispered into the void, voice steady, almost mournful, so it begins again. The stars did not answer, but far away, the Nemean waited, ancient and angry. As the galaxy trembled at the first hint of humanity's return, the galaxy responded like a wound touched by fire. Rumors ignited across trade routes, spaceports, smuggler dens, and imperial courts. The more enlightened species feared what the return of Terrans meant. The more arrogant assumed it was a relic, a ghost ship kept alive by glitching systems. Only a handful trembled with certainty, remembering the last time a Terran warship entered a contested star cluster and reshaped the political map in an afternoon. Yet the truth was stranger than the rumors. Humanity had not died, humanity had hidden, beneath fractured planets and hollowed moons, in labyrinthine vaults shielded from cosmic detection. They had survived war, betrayal, and the collapse of their own empire. And now, at the slow rise of awakening sensors scattered across the spiral arm, the descendants of Terra were preparing to reclaim the sky. Commander Athea Wren, the woman who watched the distant stars from the outpost window, strode through narrow steel corridors humming with electric tension. Her boots echoed like distant thunder. Technicians glanced up, eyes bright with a mixture of fear and awe. No one asked questions. Every person in the facility felt the same truth: the quiet years were over. She entered the command chamber where old screens glowed with new warnings. A map of the Perseus fringe hovered in midair, marking the location of the Nemean with a pulsing red icon. Around it, dozens of Dominion fleets were converging, each representing a nation that once swore never to enter Terran ground. Now they came like carrion birds, desperate to study, steal, or destroy what they feared. Athea raised her hand, tracing the glowing image. The Nemean. Their oldest surviving battleship. Their warning to the galaxy, it woke on its own. She asked quietly. Her second officer, a man with steel-gray eyes and scars hinting at battles fought in silence, nodded. Its autonomous protocols detected foreign intrusion. It did exactly what it was designed to do. At the worst possible time, she murmured. The officer hesitated. Do we recall it? Athea closed her eyes. She heard the stories whispered since childhood, stories of what Terran battleships had been capable of before the Exodus. They were titans built in the era when humans no longer feared death, when they challenged supernovas and bent cosmic storms into weapons. To recall the Nemean meant revealing the hidden enclaves. To let it stand alone meant risking the race's last trump card. Before she could answer, the chamber lights flickered. The holographic map reshaped itself, lines bending, icons multiplying. The Dominion fleet had arrived. Dreadnoughts, carriers, hunter kite swarms, each vessel locking into an encirclement pattern around the lone Terran battleship. Their formation looked like a tidal wave preparing to crush a lone boulder, but the Nemean did not stir. It hovered calmly above the dead planet, like a beast asleep with one eye open. The Dominion broadcast a threat. Static. Then a countdown. The galaxy watched through 100 million eyes. In the command chamber, Athea felt her heart hammering. She whispered to herself, "You're testing them. Aren't you?" The Nemean gave its answer. A single ripple of red light flowed across its hull. No sound. No warning shot. Just a pulse, elegant and terrifying. Spreading outward through the void. It passed harmlessly through rock, ice, and dust. But when it touched the Dominion fleet, every ship froze, engines stalled. Shields sputtered. Weapons went cold. The entire armada hung paralyzed, caught like insects in amber. No one understood what had happened. No one but the descendants of Terra. The Nemean had simply spoken to their technology in a language older than any empire, and shut it down. Athea stared at the feed in breathless silence. Their ancestors had built monsters. Elegant, perfect, unstoppable monsters. One Dominion ship, floating powerless, drifted too close to the gravity well of Vanter 3 and broke apart in a silent eruption of metal shards. Panic spread instantly across the immobilized fleet. Then the Nemean moved, just a slight tilt of its massive hull. Like a predator deciding which frozen victim to consume first, Athea exhaled shakily. We can't let it escalate. If it fires even once, the entire sector will burn. She turned to her officers, determination hardening her voice. Prepare the fleet. Humanity rises today. And somewhere deep beneath the outpost, engines long dormant rumbled awake as hidden doors began to open, letting ancient Terran light spill into the darkness once more. The galaxy had no idea what was about to emerge. The Perseus fringe burned with quiet tension. Dominion captains barked orders into failing comms. Their fleets immobilized yet desperate to assert dominance. Sensors failed. Energy cores fluctuated unpredictably. Every calculated strategy unraveled like fragile glass. In the void, a single Terran presence was rewriting the rules of engagement without firing a shot. Athea Wren's fingers hovered over the command console, tracing the vector paths of the frozen enemy ships. Her mind raced, not with fear, but with clarity. Every human instinct honed over centuries whispered that the moment to act was now. Humanity had survived through patience, cunning, and the precise application of overwhelming intelligence. The galaxy had never understood that humans did not need to attack first, they made their enemies attack themselves. Beneath the surface of the outpost, massive subterranean bays opened like gaping maws. Terran ships, hidden for generations, emerged from the shadows of moons and asteroid belts. Sleek, angular warships, each engineered with an elegance that belied destructive power, slipped through hidden warp corridors to join the Nemean. These were vessels designed not just for war, but for survival, a perfect symbiosis of speed, armor, and weaponry, each ship carrying the echo of human defiance. The Dominion fleet, still immobilized, trembled at the silent choreography unfolding before them. Communications erupted in chaos. Officers shouted through comms, their words meaningless. Their machines, once reliable, refused to obey. Systems meant to calculate tactics against inferior species faltered. Against humanity, logic itself seemed to bend. The Nemean pivoted slowly, scanning the Dominion armada with a precision no alien intelligence could anticipate. Red light pulsed along its hull, and in that pulse was the weight of history, the memory of victories long past, and the promise of vengeance yet to come. The fleets realized too late that the Terrans were no longer hiding, they were observing, learning, preparing. Athea's voice cut through the tense quiet of the command chamber. Deploy the squadrons. Move them into intercept vectors. Disable, don't destroy. Show them who we are without spilling unnecessary blood. The human pilots, descendants of a species that had conquered extremes from deserts to ice worlds, moved like shadows through the void. Their ship streaked past debris fields, weaving through gravity wells and asteroid belts as if the universe itself had been their training ground. They struck with precision, severing control links, jamming energy relays, dismantling the Dominion's fleet without firing a single conventional shot. Alien commanders tried to respond, but every maneuver was anticipated, every counterattack nullified. The Terrans were everywhere and nowhere, flowing through the void like liquid intelligence, their presence felt as a threat before it was seen. The Nemean remained at the center. Massive and silent, observing its fleet with the patience of a predator and the calm of a seasoned commander. It did not need to move to dominate. The Dominion fleet quaked under the weight of a species that had returned not to negotiate, not to plead, but to reclaim what was theirs by right of survival and ingenuity. Above the frozen battlefield, a distant sun cast shards of light across the debris-strewn void. In that moment, the galaxy could see the truth: humans were not legends. They were a force of nature, relentless, intelligent, and unbroken. Athea stood on the observation deck, her coat catching the faint light as she whispered, "Let them remember what it means to underestimate us." The fleet responded not with words, but with silent, disciplined readiness, a chorus of human resolve echoing through the void. The age of Terran defiance had begun. The Dominion fleets reeled, disoriented and powerless, while the Terran armada moved with the inevitability of a tide. Ships that had been hidden for centuries now glimmered with energy and purpose, their hulls reflecting starlight like polished obsidian. Each vessel carried the legacy of a species that refused extinction, a legacy written in human ingenuity, courage, and audacity. Athea walked the corridors of the command ship, her eyes scanning holographic readouts showing the Dominion fleet frozen in confusion. She could see their panic encoded in every failed system, every faltering shield, every idle weapon. The humans did not need to destroy, the demonstration of power was already rewriting the galaxy's understanding of their species. Squadrons of sleek Terran fighters darted through asteroid belts, slipping past defensive arrays like phantoms. They targeted only the critical nodes of the alien ships, engine cores, communications relays, and sensor grids, disabling them with precision strikes. Explosions erupted silently in the void, the shards of alien vessels drifting slowly, beautiful and deadly, like frozen fire. The Nemean hovered above the battlefield, its red runes pulsing in measured rhythm. It moved when it chose, striking only to correct the formation of its fleet, an invisible hand guiding the chaos into perfection. Its mere presence radiated authority, demanding compliance from friend and foe alike. Bathia's voice remained calm, almost serene, over the comms. Maintain position. Observe. Adapt. Humanity survives because we understand, and we endure. Every officer, every pilot, every technician aboard the Terran ships moved in perfect synchronization, a living testament to discipline and instinct honed over centuries of survival. Dominion warships, once symbols of fear, were now helpless against the strategic elegance of the humans. Energy shields flickered and collapsed. Propulsion systems failed. Once commanding officers cursed in every known language, realizing that brute force meant nothing here. Logic itself had become a weapon in human hands, as lethal as any cannon or railgun. Through the chaos, faint communications reached the Terran command. Distress signals, pleading for mercy, scattered among the debris of disabled ships. Atia allowed herself a moment of reflection. Mercy was not weakness, it was part of the story humanity had written through the ages, a story of calculated restraint, of knowing when to strike and when to wait. The Nemean shifted, pivoting its massive hull so that its silhouette cut across the light of the distant sun. Every pulse of red energy across its surface resonated through the battlefield, reinforcing the silent truth. Humanity was awake, aware, and utterly unyielding. From orbiting observation platforms, scientists and strategists watched the Terran maneuvers unfold. They could only record and theorize, understanding that they were witnessing not just war, but the return of a species that had been underestimated, almost erased, and yet had endured against impossible odds. Bathia gazed at the stars, her expression unreadable, yet inside a quiet fire burned. Humanity was no longer hiding. Humanity was not a legend whispered in fear. Humanity had returned, deliberate, patient, and unstoppable. The Dominion fleets, immobilized and humiliated, could only wait, helpless, as the humans orchestrated the galaxy's first proof of their return, a calculated display of intellect, precision, and unbroken spirit that would echo across light years for generations. The Terran Armada moved as one, a living symphony of calculated power, preparing for the next act in a war the galaxy had only just realized had begun. The galaxy held its breath as the Terran Armada advanced. Dominion fleets, crippled and bewildered, drifted in the void like stranded leviathans, their captains desperate for a strategy that did not exist. Every move they attempted was anticipated, nullified, or rendered meaningless. Humanity had returned not with brute force alone, but with a mastery of war that felt almost preternatural. Bathia oversaw the deployment of tactical nodes from the Nemean. Tiny satellites, no larger than a shuttle, unfolded into intricate arrays around the enemy fleet. Each emitted precise electromagnetic pulses that disrupted navigation systems, scrambled weapon targeting, and rendered energy shields unstable. The Terrans did not fire, they commanded the battlefield. Each disabled system was a message: underestimate humans at your peril. The Dominion attempted to regroup, clustering ships in defensive formations, but the humans flowed around them. Squadrons of fighters weaved through asteroid fields, slipping between capital ships and striking with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions flared, not chaotically, but in a controlled sequence, demonstrating the intelligence behind each strike. Alien crews scrambled to respond, but the human strategy anticipated every action before it could be executed. The Nemean glided through the battlefield like a sovereign ruler observing subjects. Its massive hull reflected the light of distant suns, and the runes along its spine pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of space. The energy radiating from it disrupted sensors across the Dominion fleet, rendering communication futile. Every attempt at resistance faltered against the silent, relentless logic of Terran design. Bathia watched the displays, noting the subtle changes in enemy formations. Every calculated ripple across the Dominion fleets became a trap, every attempted maneuver folded into the humans' advantage. She raised a hand, and the command crew responded with near telepathic precision. The Terran ships shifted, adjusting vectors, reinforcing weak points, exploiting flaws, all without unnecessary destruction. the Dominion flagship drifted closer, attempting to test the humans' limits. It fired a salvo of plasma lances, but the projectiles were intercepted mid-flight by precise electromagnetic pulses. They disintegrated harmlessly, leaving no trace. The alien crew stared at their screens in disbelief. Their mightiest weapon, rendered impotent by a force they could neither understand nor touch, Athea felt a quiet pride swell within her chest. This was the legacy of humanity, the ability to endure, to adapt, to turn the arrogance of others into a weakness. Every ship under her command moved like an extension of thought, each pilot executing maneuvers honed over generations of survival and warfare. The Dominion forces, unable to comprehend the scale or sophistication of Terran tactics, began to fracture under the invisible pressure. Ships drifted apart, crews argued, automated systems failed, and the once feared armada became a tableau of chaos. Athea turned away from the displays, stepping toward the observation window. Beyond the steel and glass, the void stretched endlessly, glittering with distant stars. Humanity had returned, not as a whisper, not as a legend, but as a presence that demanded attention, and in that quiet moment, before the final moves of the battle unfolded, one truth remained undeniable: the galaxy had underestimated humans, and it would pay for every misjudgment. The age of Terran defiance was no longer coming, it had arrived. The Dominion fleets were collapsing, not with the violence of annihilation, but with the inevitability of intelligence outmatching arrogance. Ships drifted helplessly, engines dead, systems paralyzed, crews unable to comprehend the precision that had dismantled them. Humanity did not revel in destruction, it orchestrated inevitability. Every move was measured, every outcome anticipated, every victory absolute without a single unnecessary casualty. The Nemean hovered above the battlefield, immense and serene. Its red runes pulsed like a heartbeat, a quiet testament to human resilience and foresight. Its mere presence reshaped the tide of conflict, turning confusion into order, panic into structure, and chaos into a display of mastery. Command signals rippled through the Terran fleet, each ship moving as if guided by a single, unbreakable mind. Athea Wren watched the holographic displays, noting the final positions of the Dominion vessels. They had surrendered through motionlessness. Their armada rendered impotent by a species that had been presumed extinct. Humanity's strength was not only in its weapons, but in its patience, its discipline, and its refusal to bow to threats. The galaxy had assumed humans could be broken, they had only revealed the depth of their cunning and endurance. Squadrons returned to the Nemean, weaving through debris fields and drifting hulks with a silent elegance. Pilots exhaled slowly, but no celebration erupted. There was no need. Every Terran aboard understood the message sent across the void: humanity had returned, and nothing would be the same again. From orbiting stations and hidden outposts, Terran forces observed the aftermath. The Dominion fleet lay immobilized, scattered, and humiliated, yet intact. A deliberate choice by humans to demonstrate dominance without unnecessary devastation. Every observer, every alien witness, recorded a single truth: the species they had dismissed as myth had returned, powerful beyond imagination, patient beyond reckoning, and unyielding beyond comprehension. Athea stepped to the observation deck, the light of distant stars reflecting across her face. She whispered into the silent command chamber, her voice carrying the weight of generations: "We survived. We endure. And now, we reclaim the galaxy." The Nemean pivoted, engines igniting with a calm, deliberate power, sending ripples across the void. The Terran fleet followed, moving as one, a testament to human pride, intelligence, and unbroken spirit. The galaxy would remember this day, not for destruction, but for revelation. Humans were not to be feared, nor mocked, they were to be reckoned with. And somewhere in the void, in the quiet between stars, a single thought echoed across centuries of silence: humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again.